All right, what are we doing today?
You didn't tell me what we're doing today.
Oh, I didn't tell you what we're doing. What are you going to help me on then?
Whatever you're working on.
What are we working on?
I don't know.
Why not?
Because you haven't told me.
I'm supposed to make this stuff up. Okay, this is my son Elijah. He is a huge World War II nut and knows more about tanks than probably most people. We'll guarantee most people. Anyway, so today what we're going to do is we are going to cut some holes in the firewall for the clutch. We're going to cut a hole in the floorboard for the shifter. That's probably all we'll end up getting done today realistically. I have a lot going on. What I would love to do in this video is to get the clutch pedal installed, the clutch master cylinder installed, get the motor thrown in the engine bay, get a transmission bolted up, all that fun stuff, but we'll see what we can get done. Elijah's gonna help me out today, so yeah, let's get started. As many of you know, or may not know, I'm a really big fan of the GMT-400, the 90s trucks, Suburbans. They're just, I like the body style, they're easy to work on, and I'm on a bunch of Facebook pages and groups. And a question that comes up quite a bit on either online forums or on some of the Facebook groups is, how easy is it to swap out a manual transmission for the automatic? It's pretty easy to do. I've done it once before. I'm going to be doing it on this Suburban. The nice thing about GM is they go ahead and they stamp out everything that you need already. So on the firewall itself, the hole where the master cylinder sticks through is already stamped out in the steel. The holes where the bolts go that hold the bracket for the clutch pedal, those are all stamped out. All you got to do is drill them out and bolt the stuff in. So it makes it really easy. Also in the floorboard, you'll see here in a minute when we get the truck up on the lift, there's a stamp in the floorboard that shows where the shifter comes through. It's either even got stamped out spots where the screws hold the boot for your shifter. So that part there, it's like putting a puzzle together. Everything's lined out. Easy to do. There are some other things, especially going from an automatic to a manual with wiring, because your if your automatic's not in park, it's going to cut out the circuit for your ignition. So when you take that plug off, whether you cut the wires or zip tie it up to the side, whatever you do, you have to find the two wires that have to do with your ignition or your start circuit going to the starter relay, and connect those two. Those are the big things, and after that you're going to have a check engine light on, because your ECU is going to be looking for the automatic transmission, which is no longer there. So the right way to do that is to either get a tune. If you're doing this much work on it, you probably want to go ahead and get a tune anyways, and just tell whatever company you're getting the tuned ECU from that it's now going to have a manual transmission. The last one I did, I had a parts truck, so I just swapped the ECUs around and it worked out just fine. Didn't have any issues with it. Let's see if I can think of any other issues that you run into. Drive shafts. So the NV-4500 transmission, which we're going to be putting in this one, is shorter, so that moves the transfer case closer to the front of the vehicle. So you need either find drive shafts that will fit or go to a drive shaft shop and have them made. The front one just needs to be shortened, so that's an inexpensive job to have a drive shaft take a couple inches off the front drive shaft. So I am rambling on, so let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to go ahead and crawl under the dashboard, clear some stuff out of the way so that we can work on the firewall and then get it up on the lift and cut a hole in the bottom, and that is where we will start. All right, we're gonna duck down under the dash here. If I remember correctly, you do have to move some wiring out of the way in order to get the bracket that holds the clutch pedal in place. All right, so I crawled under the dash and you can't really see these stamps on the back because there's a lot of stuff in the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drill the two bolt holes out so that I can see where that bracket needs to go. I also need to drill this out, so we're gonna do that real quick. So you can actually see right above my fingernail, it's almost like punched inside this circle to guide your drill bit so that you get your holes centered where they need to be. That's kind of the cool thing about these. All right.
There's just, let me get this camera in here. There's just very little room in here. You can see this wiring harness here's in the way. That's in the way. I know it fits. I've done it before. I got it out, so. This camera's getting in my way, so I'm probably just gonna shut it off, set it to the side, and then explain how I finally got it in. I'm sure I'll get it in eventually.
Oh man, that ended up being an absolute fiasco. I don't remember the bracket being that hard to remove when I took it off of the junkyard truck, but then again, stuff's usually easier coming out than it is going in. So the bracket's in. Now all I have to do is the brake pedal, or I'm sorry, the clutch pedal has little spring-loaded clips that just slide up inside that bracket, pop into place. So that part hopefully is going to be really easy. I'm just going to grease it up a little bit so I don't have a squeaky clutch pedal. Then we'll throw the master on, and we'll put the truck up on the lift and start working on the bottom side of it. All right, this part here is actually going to be pretty straightforward. This is probably the easiest part. You just put it in sideways, clip it, and it is in place. All right, I decided what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cut a hole or drill a hole right dab in the middle, stick the drill bit up there and leave it in place so I can go up and see where the carpet is. And then I'm going to measure what the distance is under here, then go up there and cut the carpet out. So what I did is I got a piece of cardboard, got it completely soaked in water, shoved it down in between the carpet and the transmission tunnel. I put the thing back up on a lift and go under there with a death wheel and just cut in between the lines. So any sparks that go up above it are going to just hit that soaking wet cardboard and not be a fire hazard. At least that's the plan. We've got the master in, we've got the hole in the floor and the transmission tunnel for the gear shifter. Next step is to get the motor in, get a transmission hooked up, and yeah, I'm excited. This engine has lived on this engine stand. Sorry, it's really windy. I don't know if you guys can hear this whole building's rattling. This engine has lived on this stand for about a year now. So I'm pretty excited to get it off the stand, get it in the engine compartment where I can start hooking up all the wiring, getting everything else routed where it needs to go. So yeah, this is a big moment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in. This has been a long time coming. It's kind of sitting back. So I'm gonna have to go in there and get the transmission in, get the tail end of the transmission on the cross member, and this is exciting. This has been a long time coming. All right, guys, welcome back. Just gonna finish up a couple things I didn't get finished up yesterday. getting the cross member in behind the transmission, getting that mount put on, and getting the hydraulic line from the master cylinder to the slave cylinder hooked up. And then we're going to talk about what the next step's going to be. I'm also going to make a separate video on just bleeding the clutch system. I've seen lots of comments and lots of questions online on how to get that system bled out. I figured out a shortcut or a trick to make it a little easier. So I'm going to make a short little video just a how-to coming up next. So that'll probably be the very next video after this. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hopefully this has been an entertaining episode for you guys. Lots of cool stuff coming up next. We're going to leave it at that though. So go out, have a great day.